Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Carmina, your host, and today we are going to continue our excursion, our voyage into the 52 cards of the playing card deck. And before we move on, just quickly gonna remind you, if you're new here, you might want to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. It helps with all the YouTube algorithms and everything like that. Okay, so today we are in Eight of Clubs day. Of course, the Eight of Clubs is a fixed card, but we are going to mention that later. We are just going to start with the numerical interpretation. We're going to look at the astrological correspondence, and we're going to associate this Eight of Clubs to different images and to different significations. So the eight is an even number, so it has a more feminine energy to it, but it's the Eight of Clubs. So it's a feminine energy that has to work a bit harder because the black suits are always take more effort than the red suits. If we divide the pip cards from 1 to 9 in 3 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then the 8 is part of the last group, 7, 8, and 9, which correspond to the king energy. And it's the only even card in the king energy. It's an interesting type of energy because it's between the 7 and the 9, and the 7 itself is an ending, it's an elimination, a letting go of some ideas because it's a club suit, and then the 9 is also has an ending connotation, a conclusion connotation, while the 7 is more elimination and the destroying what's not working. Then the 9 has more of a connotation of a conclusion. So the 8 is between these two, is an even card, and it's a moment of stillness, always the 8. But it's also kind of an active stillness because we know that the clubs are the air suit. They correspond to the air element, and I'm not talking like oxygen. I'm talking as the element of air, more like wind that flows through things and moves things around in a more dry manner than the water, for instance. So at the 8 of Clubs, it feels like you're up in the air with something. The 8 of Clubs significations can be air travel by plane. It can also be going to conferences and intellectually stimulating things like that. So the 8 of Clubs is this energy of stillness in movement, because in the tarot deck it also corresponds to the chariot. The black eights correspond to the chariot, so taking a journey but kind of being still in that journey, being still and finding self-validation for your ideas, because at the 7 we had reached an impasse with our ideas, and at the 9 we find a conclusion. So after that elimination energy at the 7, where we have to let go of the ideas that we would like to hold on to but they're not working for us anymore, then at the 8 we have a moment of active stillness because the club suit is always active. So it's going to be some sort of like a stillness, like I said before, in the air. I would call it more like a whirlwind. There is a point in the middle of the hurricane where you are very still. Yeah, that would describe for me the 8 of Clubs. The 8s are very contemplative. They are going inward and finding what's valuable inside and bringing it outside. The 8 of Diamonds, we were talking about the value that comes from within, but I didn't think we did the 8 of Diamonds yet. At the 8 of Hearts, yes, we talked about the love that comes from within, and here at the 8 of Clubs is like, yeah, the artist that doesn't need validation from the art world. He just does it because he feels it and it comes from inside him. That's kind of the energy of the 8 of Clubs. Eight of Clubs is a fixed card, as we mentioned. So the underlying card and the overlying card for the Eight of Clubs are still the Eight of Clubs. That's what it means, that it's fixed. That no matter how much time we quadrate the original deck, the Eight of Clubs will be in the same way. So the fixed cards are like the pillars of the card deck, the three fixed cards, which are the King of Spades, the Jack of Hearts, and the Eight of Clubs. So the whole life, the whole existence is based on these three pillars, if we speak of it esoterically. This Eight of Clubs is just that moment of going within. And if we look at the astrological signification, the eights correspond to the North Node. So this would be like the North Node in an air sign, because of course clubs are air signs. So it would be like the North Node in Libra or in Gemini or in Aquarius. A very social energy, because air signs are into spreading their knowledge, into interacting socially with people, but also a great power, because always the North Node is seen as something that seizes the person and just puts them somewhere. So it's there's these events that sometimes seem chaotic, as compared to the South Node, which we talked about yesterday, the energy of the nine, which is more spiritual. The North Node is more worldly inclined. So it has to do with the energy of this world, contributing, expressing, and fighting and trying to make sense of the energy of this world inwardly, in an inspired and creative manner. If you are born today and in other days of the year, which I'm going to mention, it means you are an Eight of Clubs. Of course, it has to be after sunrise at your place of birth. I'm just going to mention now what other dates: March 28th, April 26th, May 24th, June 22nd, July 20th, August 18th, September 16th, October 14th, November 12th, and December 10th. And now let's quickly look at the birth spread of the Eight of Clubs person, because of course we are not just the birth card, we are also the other cards in our birth spread and the planets associated to them. Yes, so if you're wondering, I'm using the Cards of Truth software developed by my teacher Ernst Wilhelm, and you can see here, because I just cast for today a chart, like hypothetically, like somebody would be born today. We see here that the path for the Eight of Clubs, so a person who is born with an innate curiosity, an innate ability to absorb the creativity and the ideas of the world and make them their own, bring them inside. The trick with all the eights, of course, like you can't access the energy of the eight until after you get past the victimization at the seven. So you have to let go of things that are no longer working. It's okay to mourn, it's okay to feel sadness, it's okay to feel disappointment. I'm not saying to sweep these under the rug, but you know, there is a certain amount of time for mourning, and then there's moving on. You can't be stuck and fixated on the ideas, on the career that was not working, on whatever clubby thing that was not working. So once you get past the morning stage, then you have some interior satisfaction. The eights are always called the great fulfillment, as opposed to the six, which is more like the smaller fulfillment. The eight is a bigger fulfillment because it's more inward. And the eight card is also associated to friendship. Nines were divine friendship. The eight is friendship. First, before achieving divine friendship, you have to have a friendship with yourself, and then you can have the divine friendship, which is at the Nine of Clubs, which ideally makes you accept other people's ideas as much as your own ideas, and accept that everything is how it's supposed to be, and it's a manifestation of something greater than yourself. Okay, so the path for the Eight of Clubs is the Three of Clubs, an independent thinker. I see they have some nice diamonds, they have some nice hearts there. My daughter is an Eight of Clubs, by the way, so I like looking at this chart. The Sun card, which shows their kingdom, it shows a materially comfortable kingdom. The Sixth cusp is there. The Sixth cusp pertains to health. So we can say about this hypothetical person that was born today, at the hour that I cast the chart, that they would have like a solid bone structure, because the diamonds relate to the bones and the minerals in our body. And then the Moon card, the Four of Spades. Okay, the Moon card, the early environment. A Four of Spades is like, okay, you have what you need for yourself, you don't have an excess, but you're at a point of balance. So not extraordinarily lavish, but not bad either. The Mars card is also nice. There we have, like, for this person, this hypothetical person, they have Venus and Mercury there, which on a 10 of hearts, it can show that they can charm their way through a crisis situation. So it's very nice. They have the support from their environment. Because Uranus is there, we also look at the Three of Spades, so the person can also be very combative when necessary. So they have this kind of mix of being charmers and charming their way through crisis situation, but that Uranus, which is connected on the Three of Spades, is very nice on the Mars card, because when the going gets rough, they have the capacity and the courage to make an effort and push forward if the charming through doesn't work. And then the Ten of Diamonds there on the Mercury card, it's how they communicate. They communicate in a very practical manner, because diamonds are there. They like communication to be rewarding, because the Ten of Diamonds could be like practical and concrete rewards from them. So they like to find rewarding verbal exchange. The Jupiter card is a bit tough, an Eight of Spades there. As I said, the eights and the nines can only be accessed after we go past the seven. So probably in their early life, person will feel stuck with their long-term vision, with their optimism, with their joy, which are all Jupiterian things. The Venus card is very nice there, an Ace of Hearts. So what makes them fulfilled is always falling in love with something. It's finding something new to love, or finding a new emotion, identifying a new emotion. I mean, they're very affectionate people, I would say, and they also like affectionate people. And then they have the Ace of Diamonds on the Saturn card, and that shows that when there is a chronic situation, like when there's something to be done on the long run, they start something, they see a potential, they see a concrete potential to get rid of the situation. You can also say that they are maybe a bit in service, maybe to the Ace of Diamonds person. I'm just being a little biased because my daughter is an Eight of Clubs and I'm an Ace of Diamonds. Yeah, maybe they're in kind of in service to a plot of land. Maybe they feel it like a burden, this plot of land, but then with time they can make things out of it. Maybe they have this skill, which is the Ace of Diamonds, that they feel like it is a burden, that they have to do it, but then they learn to be in service of that skill, which is the Ace of Diamonds. So that's good. The South Node card is a 5 past life experiences on improving on your emotional situation of emotional crises, and the North Node on the Queen of Diamonds. So they need to learn to be a good financial manager, to manage their lives in a concrete manner. Because they are an 8 birth card, the Queen of Diamonds there is very important, because it's the 8th card, and all the 8s are also very important, so that 8 in the Jupiter card is important. And then the 3 of Spades in the Uranus card is what makes them unique. It's like taking a risk and being combative when it's necessary, how they connect on a deeper level to the world. And that's how it's a very nice card on the Neptune. It's like surrendering to the divine love. It's a very spiritual card there on the Neptune, so they have the potential to be very spiritually inclined. And then the Seven of Clubs there on the Pluto card, it really makes sense, because they need to get rid of those blocks, those destructions of ideas that they were holding on to. The Eight of Clubs card, I've heard it being called the spiritual teacher card, by my teacher Ernst Wilhelm. And I don't know if it's the spiritual teacher card, but it definitely has a role model connotation, like a person, because they went inside and they hopefully went over their losses, which is at the 7, and then they managed to, by by being self-validating, they managed to be an example for other people. I'm gonna tell you in like 20 years if my daughter is a role model or a spiritual teacher. Okay, guys, this is about it for today. This was a long video also because I get into the birth card spread. Maybe I should make separate videos for every card about this birth card spread. So yeah, tell me your experiences with the 8 of clubs if you have any, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.